I think actually the thing that excites us all so much is the fact that we really have figured out a way to deliver a movie, quality viewing experience over a serialized television. In a serialized television format, we have, feature-like production values, feature-like voice cast. We're telling deep, complex stories that are serialized with, emotional journeys. The characters that you meet at the beginning of the series are different people by the end of the series, and that's a level of sophistication that isn't typically done for, family programming.
Again, we started this developing as a feature at some point, and so we're carrying a lot of that into the TV show. The thing we found with the feature is that, again, Guillermo del Toro worlds are very expansive. The mythology is so deep that you start digging and everything you want to tell more. So we found that the TV show allows you to do that. And when we kind of started thinking of doing that as a TV show, that's when we with Guillermo we started talking about the shows we love. House of Cards, Game of Thrones, The Wire. We really went to even those and say look at how the characters are changing, how they're, how you follow this guy, and he's not the same guy, in the middle of it.
Is there a specific draw for wanting to go with Netflix specifically?
They are the ones that let us do this. Again, the thing is DreamWorks TV has a great relationship with Netflix, and again, when we talk to them and say this is a show that we've been thinking about, and they were over the moon for it. They actually been probably one of the best partners to work with, and letting us really do in animation a tone that usually you don't get these days. It's this kind of Amblin, going to Goonies and going to this tone that is all about kids and discovering the world through the kids' eyes.
I apologise, I've got really bad. When you're thinking about it being on Netflix, does it change any of the way that you, in terms of production, because obviously people are more likely to be watching it on a smaller screen than they may have done it on a large television screen at home? Or is that something you just ignore when you're making a show like this?
Yeah, I think I think we pretty much have ignored that because the show, you're going to want to watch it on a big screen. You're not going to want to watch it on your little phone.
I encourage you guys to put the projector or the big screen, because we've done it to hold up on a screen of the feature film.
Yeah, really. It's designed to make it feel like you're watching a movie. So you don't want to watch a movie on a little iPhone. Come on. So it's and Netflix, they've been incredible partners and so supportive and very enthusiastic about the show.
It seems like the show's trying to find a good balance between being appealing to children and to adults. Is that tricky to pull off?
I think I wanted to say something apocryphal and say that it's actually not that tricky. I think if you sort of respect the audience and you're not writing down to the kids, you think of those Amblin films, it's not writing down to children. They're not, all the Chris Columbus and who did Goonies, he didn't write down to the audience. You write up to the audience, and that's the only trick to it. You write up to them and they can follow it, and kids can really, we don't give them enough credit in terms of what types of narrative they can digest these days.
For me, I've spent almost 10 years at Pixar, so I'm very used to not, again, the philosophy was you just make these projects for you to enjoy and for you to actually want to see them. So you only can start by that. If you start to think about what an audience reaction is, you're starting on the wrong foot. So if you like it and you're enjoying doing it, we're hoping that everyone can enjoy it too. So.
I think you always feel pressure. You either feel pressure because your previous show was successful, or you feel pressure because your previous show was unsuccessful. Either way, you're feeling pressure. It's true. Anytime you put something out into the world, I think if you're not feeling pressure, your passion level probably isn't where it needs to be.
Obviously, a lot of people were devastated by the loss of Anton. I was wondering if that affected, the production of the show at all, and how did you guys go about, tackling those challenges?
I mean, well, first of all, it certainly did, because I think, for a very long time, we were all just coming to grips with the news. It still, to this day, I don't think feels real to any of us. So there was a certain element of just, okay, at what point do we get back to work? And of course, there's some practical considerations in terms of the amount of work that was left over, that still needed to be done, and we're working on that. But I think the thing about Anton was he so affected all of us, and he's, as Guillermo says, he's the soul of this project, and his presence really does linger in every frame of all the episodes. And even right up to the last episode, we found, I think, a nice way to just continue to honor him and acknowledge his enormous contribution to the show.
And our show,
Time.
you're actually
Thanks,
I'll
guys.
let me finish this one.
Okay.
You do a show, you start a show, and you start with all these expectations of what you want to do, and then something like this changed the point of view of what you're doing. And it becomes something that we talked about ourselves, and after the period of dwelling, is how can we celebrate him? How can we really help the audience really feel like what we were feeling working with him, and how generous with his time and his passion on it. So that's what we're trying to do now, is really celebrate his amazing stuff. So
Fantastic.